Hey, welcome to Keene No Spin.
I'm Chris Coates.
I think I'm Randy Filiault.
And we're back for another round, third time that we're doing this. And again, our goal here is to do what we've always done, and that is to, as best we can, bring you information that's going on in the city,
county.
It could be county, national,
maybe the state,
and state. Yeah,
so, all that stuff.
So,
yep, cool. Well,
I can start. You can start. I don't care.
Yeah.
You have notes. I don't.
I did. Chris has everything right up there. I can hear a breeze coming through right now. But yeah, we can just start on some local stuff. Well, I'll start off with what was in the paper today, and that's the Keene Fire Department going to 24-hour shifts. We had voted that at City Council when we were discussing the fire contract. It was something we were working on. It was something they requested, something that really hasn't been talked about too much the last few contracts, or at least the city didn't want to do it.
What are they currently doing?
So basically, the way the fire department worked until last week was basically they do a couple of 13-hour shifts.
Okay.
Maybe a day shift.
13 on, 13 off.
13 on, 11 off.
Okay.
And then a day off, and then maybe the night shift, which I believe was 11 on, 13 off. The problem with that was, in today's day and age, now when that originally happened, it's been years ago when they first started doing that shift, firefighters could actually sleep at night, so you could kind of mix the shifts up a little bit. What the firefighters were finding when they went from a day shift to a night shift is that because they're running all the time, they just couldn't even get any sleep. Yeah. It was just, the adrenaline is up, because let's face it, with the opiate epidemic, you're running, all the time. Mm-hmm. So basically, and a lot of other fire departments around the country have been doing this for a long time. So basically what they'll come in, they'll do a 24-hour shift.
Yeah.
And then have a couple days off and do another 24-hour shift. It allows them to reset their body time clock, but still do the same amount of hours per week as they're doing now. So instead of doing 13, then another shift comes in to do an 11, then the next shift comes in to do a 13. Basically, they're just going to do 2:20.
They get in at 6 o'clock and they leave the next day at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I believe it's 6 to 6 or 7 to 7. Yes, yeah. Something like that.
So all right, so they in a week's time. Mm-hmm. So they do a 24-hour shift. Then what happens?
A couple days off.
Couple days off.
Another 24-hour shift.
Another 24-hour.
There you go. You get 48 hours in.
Okay, and that's in 1 week.
That's in 1 week.
So 8 hours is now going to be overtime.
I don't know exactly.
I mean, you can't get around it, can you?
No. They'll work it out. So I'm not exactly sure how the other 8 carry over, but I'm sure the way that's set up, it'll be it'll wind up being so many hours a week, so many hours a month, so many hours a year. That part of it will get tweaked a little bit, but. Yeah, it was something that they had requested from the city that they wanted to go that route, and city looked at it. Like I said, the average person looking in going, will go, well, that's kind of strange, but nationally, it's what fire departments are doing all around the country because it's just different than what it used to be. You're right. Just you're running all the time. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a long 24 hours, but then again, a lot of times when they were doing say the 13-hour shift.
Yeah.
And you're towards the end of the shift and you get called out to a fire or to a medical emergency, well, then you're running into those 11 hours that you had off. So by the time you get off your shift, you might only had 3 or 4 hours sleep anyhow. And let's face it, you're not sleeping because your adrenaline's too pumped up. Then the next thing you know, it's 7 in the morning and you're doing it all over again. So the way the national fire, the fire industry looked at it, it's like they just found it much easier just to go 24.
Okay.
And Chief Howard is going to monitor this closely and get back to the council, a few months down the road and give us an update how he thinks it's working. And so, it's interesting. Once again, it's not, it's not a brand new issue. This is something that the rest of the country's been doing, and Keene's just getting on board. But there's no more sleepy little fire departments anymore. You're just running. Back in the day when I was a call firefighter, I could go there and spend the night, and you might get 1 call a night. Mm-hmm. Maybe 2, but now, no, they just run 24/7. So that's what's going on at the fire department.
How many men are they down currently?
They're not. Keene Fire is never down too many. I think they're down a couple. It's usually because somebody's out of work hurt more than somebody's retired. Although, it used to be, like I said, back when I was a call firefighter, there was 27 of us. And most of the guys, not all, but most were on the call department, which they'd have a full-time job and they'd do this part-time. When an opening was coming open, it would be one of the call firefighters that would wind up going in and becoming full-time. I think now they're down to 4 or 5 call firefighters because, once again, people have to work, not giving the time off that they used to be. Used to be if you were a volunteer or call firefighter, your employer would let you go. And you and I talked about this a while ago. Employers run so lean and mean, they can't let people go anymore.
Do you know if we utilize, I apologize, Cheshire Career Center has a fire safety course now?
What else?
Cheshire Career Center out of Keene High School. Do you know if we're utilizing that, and some of the guys that have gone through the course or then becoming firefighters here and then going through the academy?
Yeah, I'll have to check the chief. I know some of the, I know a lot of local people have gone through it. I don't know how many have wound up in Keene. Sometimes they'll take that and wind up. I know we have a couple of Keene guys up in Concord on their department that would have liked to have been in Keene, but there were no openings, so they took the job up in Concord. So, not sure about that, but keep them busy.
Wow.
It's a busy department.
Yeah.
Talking about shortages now, I know the police department's still down 4 or 5. That's just tough.
That's a lot of that.
Nobody wants to be a cop anymore.
And then
Can't blame them.
well, but we've also said it before too, and that is that you can have somebody come on, and they go through the academy and they wash out. So you're starting all over again, or you get them through the academy and they get into the year of training that they do with here once they've gone through the academy, and they see that there's an opportunity to go some other place to earn some more money, or they aren't just cutting it here and making whatever it may be.
Yep.
And you're down somebody too, or you get retirements, or whatever, injury.
Yep.
You name it. There's always it's a struggle.
A lot of competition.
Yeah.
Keene's not unique. Every community is down cops.
Right.
Every community.
How many police officers do we have?
God, you had to catch me on that one. 47, something like that. I don't have the exact number written down, but we're always down 4 or 5, and then you get a couple out, with injuries, and then you get a lot of guys working overtime, and you never want to crunch too many people in overtime, especially cops.
Yeah.
Man, that's a brutal job. I'll go out a couple times a year and ride with them, and I'm like, I've always said I could never ever be a cop because they gave me a gun, and people treat me like some of them are treated, and they'd just be bodies littered on the side of the road. It just it just wouldn't work well. It just wouldn't.
Note to self.
No, I've been out with them and listened to some of the comments that people have made to cops, and I'm like, I look at these people, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
They're so. I mean, I know
We're
I'm
not
getting.
talking
I know
to
I'm
college
getting
kids, we're
older.
talking
I know
adults.
I'm getting older, but our police officers look so young.
I know. They are.
We had the gala, the chamber gala, and congratulations to Moco Arts and
nice
to
job.
Susan Newcomer
Yep.
for being Business of the Year, the Windsor Brooks Business of the Year, and Citizen of the Year. Susan both choices spot on. Couldn't have picked better people in business, a person in business to represent the chamber in this awards. And so, to those who made the selections, great job. So, but I know that they had to have police officers there because there was over 400 people at the gala.
Yep.
And
all the rowdies. I couldn't make it that night, but if they had, they probably would have hired a couple more cops. But
yeah,
all you rowdies down there,
Yeah, but I was talking to him because I had the honor of working to get Travis Roy. Once he was coming up, Travis Roy is the young man who played for Boston University. It's a great story, actually. I mean, it's a kid that was from Augusta, Maine, who just found hockey was his passion. He had some learning disability, but that hockey gave him that doorway to greatness. And so his parents knew, and he knew that they needed to do something to give him the opportunity to play at a higher level. So they actually put him in Tabor Academy, which I think is down in Connecticut. And some reason I want to say Massachusetts too, but I think it's down in Connecticut. And so he went down there, and he told the story of how he, a lot of his friends would go out and have pizza or whatever they were doing, and he'd be in the hockey rink just shooting puck after puck at the net, trying to figure out different ways to put the puck on the net. And he started to excel. He excelled in that and in soccer, and he got some, he started getting calls from the University of Maine, University of New Hampshire, BC, BU. He even got a call from Harvard. He said, and I was a B student. And so some people were recognizing his ability, and he always had the dream and the vision to, and the goal to play in Division I hockey.
Yep.
And so he chose Boston University, and he knew he was going. When he went from Augusta, Maine to Tabor, he knew he was going from a small pond, a big fish in a small pond, to a small fish in a big pond.
Very big pond.
And
BU is a
because of
hockey
his skill,
powerhouse.
but this was to Tabor,
Yeah.
but then he excelled there and became a bigger fish there.
Yep.
And then went to BU and started all over. But in his freshman year, he got the call.
Yep.
Coach Parker, legendary hockey coach for Boston University, said, "You're going to have your skates on in our first game," and there he was. And he said it was he's coming out, and doing that first. When you've gone to enough hockey games, when they come out and they just fly around the rink.
Yeah.
He said the thrill of hearing the place just roar, and he said then getting on the sidelines and watching the game start off, and he said we score and the place just erupts, and he's like, this is my dream. I've made my dream. And then he said I felt the tap, and that meant that I was going over the boards and onto the ice. 11 seconds in, he goes into the corner behind the goal, gets like a forecheck type, but not. I don't know if there was really any penalty. It's just one of those two people going for a thing.
Yeah.
And he fractured two. What is it?
Vertebrae?
Three, yes, vertebrae. I was just trying to remember which ones they were. C3 and 4, I think it was. I could be wrong. Could be, and he fell to the ice, and he just said, I knew right then I was in trouble. I knew I could see my breath, but I couldn't, but I couldn't do anything
feel
about
anything,
it.
yeah.
And his dad came out of the ice, and he said, "Dad, I'm in trouble." But when they got him on the stretcher, and he at one point he looked up at his dad, and the place is like teary-eyed by now.
Yeah.
But he said, "Dad, I made it," because
Yeah.
that was one of his goals. Now once he was there, he probably would have had a next goal. Could I get to the NHL and play? But he had completed one of his goals. So he's a motivational speaker. He speaks all over the country. And he's just an amazing individual. It was fun to, when he came in, he said, can we go someplace, away from everybody first, so he can adjust himself. He had a driver with him, and he had he has an agency that works with him, so they make sure everything is set. And I had worked everything out with the sound people so that they had which mic they were going to use, and he just drove right up the ramp and spoke to the crowd and had us all spellbound and standing ovation. But it's just an amazing individual who said, "I'm not going to give up."
You never know.
You don't know
never
until
know.
you're there, and then you have to make a decision. Is my life altered? Yes. Is it over? No.
Nope.
And that's so it was good. It was a great selection for people. For awards, it was great to get together. I mean, 400 people. There's people I haven't seen all year that you get to see, and there's a little cocktail / appetizer hour,
Yep.
and you just go around, and we just were shooting the breeze with people, and it was just a good night.
Good.
Yeah,
Well,
and the city was there.
most of the city
Elizabeth
was there.
Dragon and
I couldn't make it that night,
Mitch,
so
I know
obviously
Mitch
there
was there, and George Hansel was there, and so it was good. And there was others,
Yeah, I know.
but you weren't.
I know. Busy person sometimes,
You need to get your priorities right and stop worrying about money.
Money? What's that?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good story, Chris.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else is going on in Keene? I'll just talk about something that I'm going to be bringing up at City Council. It'll actually get addressed, this week. And one thing you've noticed around Keene, around anywhere, but especially around Keene, a lot more food trucks popping up.
Yeah.
Very popular. And one of the problems that I've seen and talked to some people that own a couple of food trucks is that they're a little frustrated by the hours that the city limits them to. Basically what it is right now, during daylight standard time, which is now,
Yeah.
they can go from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then during the summer they can go from 9 to 9. if they want to go a little later, they can request from the city council extended hours. My opinion of all this is, let them go 24 hours. Let them go 24/7. If a food truck can make business at 3 in the morning, then let them make money at 3 in the morning. The only thing we have to be concerned about at all, and I'm aware of this, is, you got to be careful that you're not in a residential neighborhood, creating noise. But, then again, how much money is a food truck going to make a residential neighborhood at 3 in the morning? It's usually your commercial areas and maybe, down near the college if it's 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So I've submitted that to the council. We'll discuss it probably next week, and we'll see where we go. I know there's a little bit of opposition. There always is whenever you propose anything that changes things. But I think we should allow the trucks to go 24/7, make the money where they can.
I think there's probably compromise in anything that you discuss. And I think that first and foremost, I don't think you bend whatsoever when it comes to health inspections, and I don't think they have the ability to do so. But
that won't change.
But that right.
That doesn't change.
Because I think most importantly, whatever it is, that these trucks need to meet a certain standard
Absolutely.
to ensure the safety of anybody that's is enjoying their foods.
Yep.
I have no problem with that. I have no problem with your going until whatever times. I think it's 1 or 2. It's fine. If I mean after that, who I mean,
Well,
but
that's my point.
But I guess, but I also think, I mean, I guess you could go whatever, and I think that it's going to, the market's going to tell you what works and what doesn't.
It absolutely.
So all right, I could.
If you own a food truck and you're sitting out at 3 in the morning and there's no customers, you're not going to do it.
But the next thing would be, what is an area and what isn't an area that somebody could go into, and I think you may actually have at this time during the day you can be in these areas. These are food trucks, so they can move. From this time on, maybe they let them come onto the campus if that's what you're doing. I have no idea, but maybe you have a certain zone for that time, so that somebody says, well, this is campus housing. Well, it used to be campus housing, but now it's more residential because of the housing glut we have, and we're not in first-time buyers are now having an opportunity. There's a good thing about that's happening with the housing, and I know I'm going off on a tangent, but there's a good thing about the housing glut, not for the people that are trying to sell. I get that, but because the prices will probably come down on some levels or have come down on some levels, it may give these people that are first-time buyers an opportunity that maybe they wouldn't have had, and maybe they had to look outside the city. I don't know. I'm not a realtor. Somebody else gets to say, Chris, you're totally wrong, and that's fine. Going back to my food truck issue, though, is I just want to make sure there's clarity to where they can be, so that like UNH, they had a few food trucks, but there was one in particular that had great fries that you could get cheese on it and stuff. And 1 o'clock in the morning, that was heaven. I mean, even like when Athens, and I don't know if they still do, but Athens used to stay open until 1 on Fridays and Saturdays, because they knew they had a clientele that would walk in, and they could earn and as long as it didn't become a hassle, And there were some other places that have stayed open until a certain time. And I mean, you at one point opened up a food section in your thing, and you were doing later at night, but you then shut it down.
Till 2 in the morning.
Yeah, but you shut some of that down after a period of time because there wasn't a clientele there. So the market dictated what you could and couldn't do.
It absolutely does. And it'll dictate this also. And there's nothing to say if we go in and we just say, okay, well, we'll open it up broad for the city. You can go 24/7, like anything else. We'll revisit it in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, whatever. Take a look at it, see if there's any issues. Nothing's ever permanent. You can change anything on the fly.
Yeah.
But then again, if there's not a market, we're not going to do it.
Right.
I mean, Cumberland Farms goes 24/7, so there's a market somewhere between midnight and 6 a.m.
Yeah.
They sell food, they sell pizza all night long.
The other thing the other thing is can you as a food truck move around, or do you have to? Does the city assign you a spot, or do you go to the city asking for a certain spot, or can you move around if at a certain time of day you want to be here, but on another certain time, can you do that? Those are the questions that you guys like if you're pulling back the layers of the onion, then go a little bit deeper and see if there's other things, and get some of these food truck people in there to hear the conversation.
Oh, they will be.
So they can
They will
have
be.
their input too, so that you guys come up with something that you're not revisiting down the road because you did do the deep dive.
Absolutely. Well, that's why, I brought it up. I just put it in writing, submitted it, send it in. It'll get brought up, next week at a committee. The food truck owners will see this and we'll have a discussion.
Yeah.
And you're right, there might be a compromise. There might be, okay, we're just going to do it in the downtown area. A lot of the food truck people will probably just say, that makes sense, because what are we going to do sitting in a residential neighborhood at 2 in
Most
the
of the
morning?
restaurants shut their kitchens down after 10 o'clock.
I know. They shouldn't.
But
There's a market.
Yeah.
There's a market. But then again, a lot of them have trouble finding employees now too.
Right.
That's tough. That's one great thing about a truck. You can get one person to run it.
Yeah.
Or
a tag team of a
Couple
husband
people.
and wife, or
Yep.
whatever it may be. Yeah.
Yep. And some other people might say, hey, this is a great idea. Let's go to Keene and open up a food truck.
Yeah.
So we'll discuss it. That's that's what you got to do to get something going. The argument in Keene has always been, oh, we're anti-business. Well, here's a small little thing that we can say, what, we're pro-business. Let's see where we can go. Who knows? Chris and Randy's hot dogs. You never know. You'd never know. All that money you just talked about, how much money? It's like, wow.
You mean
how many hot dogs can we sell?
The 20,000 hot dogs that you sold that you only reported 10,000?
Yeah, those.
Yeah.
Yeah, those.
That's just me thinking that, come on, do you really report all the hot dogs you really sold? And how do you really capture that? It's not a bad business,
No. You
just got to have quality, and it has to be clean, and people have to feel comfortable with it, and you have to have a personality.
Yep. Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you can't just. It's like anything, or any a restaurant's a perfect example. A restaurant or a bar. So many people think you can just open the door and you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
That's why between 80 and 90% fail in the first year.
Yeah.
80 to 90% because they open the door and they go, here I am.
Yeah.
It's like, so, and as you know, and I know, you can have a bar or an eatery and it can be the most popular place in town. Somebody opens one up 2 doors down, they're the hot spot.
Yeah.
And there's only so many food dollars in the city between restaurants.
And I think some restaurants, I think it's a fine line of reinventing yourself and knowing what certain staples are the things that people really know you for,
Yeah.
So it's always like, what's new? What do we need to? And usually that falls. Some people say it falls more on the appetizer side, that you can change, with what's hot.
Yeah.
And then you add in over time 1 or 2 entrees or something. That's what I've been told. I don't know if that's true.
You can't get stagnant because
No.
you get stagnant and you don't even notice that 1 or 2 people that used to come in might not be coming in as much anymore. They get bored.
Yeah.
It's like anything. They just get bored with your menu. They get bored with your drink selection, bored with your beer selection.
Yeah.
Got to stay on it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you're one of those 80%. We just saw that happen with Tilly's. Nothing personal. Something didn't click. They're one of the 80% that didn't make it a year. And that's investing a lot of money. That costs a lot of money to open a restaurant.
It is too bad because they seem like really nice people wanting to really put a good product out. I did go there, I think, a few times, and it was good food. It's just that it couldn't, for whatever reason, it couldn't maintain.
Yeah,
and that's too bad.
Not to pick on them. That's a tough inside location where it's kind of shaped like a horseshoe.
Yeah.
And a lot of the successful ones, people kind of like more the open concept where you can see everybody.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a
I don't know
tough
why you
shape.
don't knock out that wall, but maybe it's.
I think it's a stairway that goes up in between it.
Oh, is that what it is?
I think that's what it is.
Okay.
So it's a tough one, but from what I hear, somebody else is all ready to take
they're
it
ready
and
to go.
So,
I think they're talking February, so that's good.
and while we're talking about that, and we're talking about restaurants, we talked a little bit a couple of weeks ago. The TD Bank location, that's ready to rock and roll down on Main Street. That's going to be some type of a brew pub. I know I was talking to one of the contractors the other day. Supposedly they're in there this week, starting the renovations. And that's a big area inside that bank. You don't notice it as much because of the offices to the sides. That's a lot of room.
Yeah, it'll
hope
be
they do
interesting
very
to see.
well.
There's a lot of speculations one way or the other. The latest I heard was, brewery tasting room. Mm-hmm. And then
Gonna brew their own beer. I'm aware of that.
Right, and it may be more than that at some point down the road. But brewery tasting room and no food, but there could be. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I've heard a
We'll
couple
wait and
things
see.
on that.
But you know
Yep.
what? It's getting filled.
Yeah,
That's what I care about. It's getting filled,
Somebody
and it's
is-
a neat spot.
major investment.
You know?
Major investment in that location.
Yeah.
Because you're not taking over an existing restaurant that had like some equipment in there.
No.
That's and I've done it in the past. You clean slate. You've got four
Maybe
walls.
that's why they're going with the tasting room, because then they can at least, but who I know is going in there, they could probably make the food off site. So
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Wish them well, but that's a huge hole filled downtown.
Yeah.
A few more to go, but they're starting to fill up.
well, I hear that that I'm hearing some stuff about Ingenuity.
I've heard it.
No, well, this one I've heard is real. So
Yeah, well,
so it would be interesting. It would be from what I'm hearing, an American Grill type situation. So
yeah, we don't know. Could be. You've heard a couple things. Things come and things go.
where's the Burger King? When's that start? What are you doing over there, city?
Yeah, I know. Nope, they're all set to go. They have their permits. They're ready. I mean, the city's ready. The city's giving them all their permits. I think they're just waiting maybe for a little bit nicer weather to put a shovel in the ground.
Oh, that's just an excuse. Come on.
You know
a
what's funny,
Whopper
Chris?
with cheese.
Out of all the things that happen in Keene that you would think people would jump on a city councilor about, since I originally mentioned that about Burger King, that's the number one thing people talk to me about. When the heck is Burger King
Well,
opening?
Pizza Hut's going into where Pizza Pie
Pizza
used
Pie
to be.
was, yeah, at some point. They have
So-
their, yeah, that's an easy one because that's, once again,
It's already ready to go.
That's a retrofit. Just
Right.
go in there and turn on the oven.
I wonder if it's the same people that owned Pizza Hut before, or is it a new
don't know.
franchise fee?
I don't know.
I mean, good for Pizza Hut if they're getting a new franchise fee
Yeah.
out of it. But
Not sure. They're, that one's pretty much ready to go too.
in
but
Winchester, I saw Winchester was approved a Dunkin' Donuts down there, which makes
That's been going on for a decade.
I know, but it makes it's. I'm glad that it finally came to a conclusion because, I mean,
It's not Dunkin' Donuts anymore. It's Dunkin's.
Dunkin's, right?
Dunkin's.
Right. It's
You
always gonna
realize
be,
donuts only
it's
make
going
up...
to be Dunkin' Donuts to me always.
Of course it is. But donuts only make up 10% of their sales now.
No way.
10%.
Is it coffee like 80?
Coffee and sandwiches.
Yeah.
Donuts are only 10%.
Wow.
So is that?
They're fading.
Yep. Donut people.
So
I need
this
to make
is
donuts
there's a
anymore.
market there then. If somebody still has the Gene pastry recipes, give them to me and I'll start making Gene pastry chocolate covered donuts.
They were this big.
Yeah,
They were
good.
big
They were
donuts.
good.
And
They were
the coffee was 10 cents too.
Yeah.
That was a little while ago. So that's happening. So, Keene's starting to, do I have anything else here business-wise? Oh, we have our, Vietnamese restaurant that's still working on their sign, but that's in city staff's hands right now. Council doesn't have anything to do with that. It's like, whatever. We'll see where that goes.
There's a story in the paper today that they're going to stick to the name they choose to, and that the city's going to have to make a determination as the landlord, not
Right.
as the city,
As a landlord.
as the landlord, which happens to be the city,
Mm-hmm.
whether within the contract they have the ability to say yay or nay to whatever the sign is,
Yep.
And I still struggle with what was the individual's place called prior to this? Why did they change it? I get the play on the words. I laughed at the play on words.
Yeah.
But now it's time to, is it more about the sign and the name or about the product you're going to serve?
Yeah, I think
Don't you want to open it up and just I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't get it. I'm tired of the conversation. I'm tired that
Oh, me too.
that we get the negative that we get after there's so many people in this city that work incredibly hard every single day to really shine the light on this city and this county as a whole. And
Yep.
and I get frustrated with this whole
It's very-
this
it's
whole
very
thing because it's
frustrating.
just and I don't know, but I've been told that there's a relationship with the Keene
Freaking.
Free Keene, and if that's the case, that's too bad because I haven't ever really seen anything that doesn't that they do that's in the positive, that's promoting the city of Keene in a positive light. They're all because it doesn't raise the revenues they need to they on their podcast, But that's just my thought about it, and somebody could tell me that maybe they think Robin Hood was the right thing. I don't know.
So the city manager's lap, as you know, city staff handles, whenever we lease something out. All the city council did was give her authorization to do the lease, and now it's in her lap, and I know it's been tough on her, the city manager. It's just like I don't think she saw this one coming, but it is what it is. I mean, I wish the sign controversy would go away. I mean, personally, of course, I wish they'd change the name and not do it as kind of a jab in the city side.
Yeah.
We want all these buildings to be filled and be successful, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm sure by the time you and I come back here in 2 weeks, something's either going to be resolved or or attorneys going to be beating each other up. But I hope it doesn't go down that route. It's once attorneys get involved, it's never a happy ending.
Do you know that that Luca has oysters? And so if you go there, you can order a thing of oysters.
Okay.
I never had it before. They're not bad. You
Oysters?
put a little hot
sauce.
sauce on them, and
Hot sauce makes everything taste good.
yeah. So it was actually good the other day when I had them. He had me try them for the first time ever.
Is that right? Yeah, I know. You
they
kind of
were
look
good.
at them and you go, really? But yeah, hot sauce. Put hot sauce on it, shut your eyes, everything tastes good.
Yeah. So and I'm just trying to think. No, I look around the downtown and it's really starting to it's really
taking
looking
off.
It's looking
off.
good, and I'm glad because I've always said a healthy downtown is a healthy Keene is a healthy county, and so
Yep.
And vice versa.
In your office, you look out your window, right?
Yeah.
And you see all of downtown.
I see that, and I see you walking by usually with a bag of groceries.
Or a bag of dog poop because I
Well,
got the dogs with me.
actually, I see your wife walking about 10 paces ahead of you, and you're just sort of like with the bag.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I get to carry the poop bag. Yeah, good. Whoever thought. I thought that when I'm out walking the dogs. Back in our area when the dogs just went out and played. Dogs were never on a leash back then.
No.
They did their thing, came back in. Whoever thought the day we'd walk around with a bag of dog poop and walk. Neighbors go by, honk the horn. You're waving.
Hey, how you do?
Oh, got it on me.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Well-
hey, have you been doing any of the hockey?
Yes, that's on my note too. Actually, as we're taping this show, which is on a Wednesday, Keene has a game tonight, and
they?
I will be there. I go to all the games. Great hockey team. Had lost last week. They had an ugly game, but it happens.
So they're 5-1.
I think either 4-1 or 5-1. Yeah.
Okay.
And Keene High basketball is 5-1. So the boys' sports are doing well. Keene has a 6'8" center.
Oh, I know. I went to the.
We've never had a 6'8" center.
I went to the Keene Conant game, and Conant beat Keene.
I heard that. Yeah,
and
they must have had a good team.
No, well,
Or
they
Keene
had
just had
it.
an
They
off
had.
night.
I think all the above. I think that Keene is better than what they showed that night. I think Conant is a good team. I think they were lights out hitting everything. I mean, they put something up from 40 feet out and it was going in.
One of those
I mean,
nights.
It was, and Keene was rim.
Yeah, it
So
happens.
it's one of those things I think. But they beat Bedford the other night.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. I
It's
hope they
a
continue.
good winter for Keene High sports.
Right. I just hope they continue on and do what are they 4-1 or
Basketball is 5-1. I think
5-1?
I think hockey's 4-1 because they had a couple of cancellations.
They're 3 games away from a 500 season.
Yeah.
They've probably already beaten what they've won
beat-
in the last 2 seasons.
Oh God, last
alone.
year they won 2 or 3 games the whole season.
Yeah. So I mean,
Nice
this
to
is-
see basketball back at
it's-
Keene
and
High.
I really think it's the feeder system, and I
Yeah.
think the AAU stuff and all that. So I hope it keeps up, and
It's like hockey. I could have been a great hockey player if I just learned how to skate.
Yeah.
Just that little thing got in the way. What? Skate?
Yeah.
Nah, that didn't work. I'm probably the only one in Keene that doesn't skate. But Keene High hockey, really good. And Keene Ice is really helped that out when we were in the barn down there.
Yeah.
Kids didn't want to play hockey. They're like, they looked
Well,
at
they
it.
didn't want to get up early, go freeze, and skate on OK ice.
Yeah.
And now they can get up,
State
they
of
go
the
down
art.
there, they can stay warm,
Yeah.
they can skate, and they have nice ice that they're skating on.
And by the way, on top of that ice arena, it's all solar panels. You probably saw that. Which can lead me right into my next one, the renewable energy issue. Boy, just segueing right over everything here,
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, what does that mean?
basically what it means, actually we'll be voting on that at council. It came out of the committee that I sit on. We want Keene to be entirely dependent on renewable energy by 2030.
City of Keene.
The city. Not only the government, we'd like our residents also by 2030. So in what,
Like.
11 years? And it's not mandatory.
You're not gonna pull a vapor on us.
You never know, man.
You know, where they say this is the way it's gonna be, and
Damn it.
yeah.
That's right. Well,
Okay.
you never know. No, this is a.
And
It's a goal.
How was the?
It's a goal.
How was the vote?
Out of committee, it was 4-1.
Who was the one?
Councilor Sutherland.
Okay. And what was his concern about that?
I couldn't really give you an
Cost?
honest answer about.
Initial cost?
I think his type of vote is he just feels some things government shouldn't be involved in, and I think he said.
Yeah, but aren't you talking about yourselves first and foremost? Mm-hmm. And so, if could that be a cost savings initially? What's the if you put in solar panels at every building, what's the payback period?
We showed. God, and I don't have the exact figure on me. The solar panels that we put on the police department and the ice arena, despite all the investment, the payback will be like $250,000, before the next decade.
How?
Because you're not.
I mean, you're saving a penny here and there, aren't you?
Yeah, it adds up. The solar adds up. It's the same thing if you go down to the parking lot now, down by Lindy's Diner, and you see the new lights in there. Those are solar-powered lights.
Yeah.
LED solar-powered. So pretty much what you're going to see in Keene is whenever we put any type of lighting up, it's going to be solar-powered. And that's our goal. It's like whenever we do new lighting, whenever we do, virtually anything that requires energy in Keene, by 2030, we want it all to be from a renewable source.
Yeah.
Wind, solar, thermal. And then transportation-wise by 2050. I mean, we're a ways off from that. But I think that's going to be I think the industry is going to take care of that way before 2050. That everything is going to be hybrid or, hybrid electric or just electric.
Volvo's already going to offer
All hybrid.
All hybrid.
Hybrid electric.
Yeah.
And most companies are heading that way. So transportation by 2050, I honestly see that happening well before 2050. I would almost think transportation will be right there by 2030 along with the rest of it. I really do. Because the technology
is evolving so fast.
It's evolving. Tesla.
I mean, think about all you have to do is remember when we talk about something now and say in 20 years, think about the bag phone.
Yep.
Remember? The bag phone. And people like
portable phone.
This big bag phone you had, and you had to put it in the lighter and all this stuff.
Yep.
And now think of the cell phone.
I know.
You
think about landing on the moon.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We're talking 2050. Think about when we landed on the moon in 1969. This thing has more power than all the computers that put that thing on the moon. Right here.
That's the one thing I've decided I don't want to do.
Go to the moon?
I don't want to travel out into space. There is way too much trash up there. It'll be my little spaceship that I'm on that will all of a sudden have one of the old satellites that's gone out of commission whack you and take off half your wing or something. Just be my luck.
Yep. There is a lot of space junk out there.
Yeah.
A lot of space junk out there.
I actually think there's a company trying to develop a way to get rid of all the trash, and I don't know whether that means they sort of push it out into another dimension or what they do, but
yeah, I can just look up now and see a big.
They create their own black hole and they just go.
See a big green and yellow, spaceship up there saying waste management out there picking up, Well, speaking of trash, that can segue into my next thing. We've been talking about plastics and junk and all of that. I just read where the Common Man restaurant chain, they have a couple in Concord. They have like 21 total different locations. They own the restaurants on the interstates where the liquor stores are. That's the Common Man restaurant chain.
Yeah.
They're going over to all paper straws. They're doing away with plastic.
Right.
Sounds small, but after watching some of the documentaries on television lately about plastic, it's like, wow.
I think the biggest thing that they need to take care of is being able to have paper straws that can bend. Because for people with physical disabilities that that have something right there in front of them, they need to be able to, In
other words, Chris needs a straw that bends. So
they're cool too.
Can
they make paper straws that go like this so that?
Oh, that's a good point.
And can they make paper straws that are clear so that when you can see the milk, the strawberry milk that goes up through and in, or the chocolate milk or whatever? Do you remember that when you were a kid? What was it Nestle's?
Yeah, Nestle's Quick.
Yeah.
Strawberry Quick.
Yeah.
You had that too, huh?
I did.
You had to have the curly straw.
Well, you had to have chocolate in your milk back then because it was powder milk. And if you ever had powder milk, you knew that you needed something to kill the taste.
I was on a submarine.
Yeah.
All you had was powdered milk.
Yeah.
It was powdered milk and powdered eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were interesting.
Submarines then, compared to the submarines now, though, isn't there a big difference?
No.
No?
The big
You have not bigger, more room space down there?
The big difference on the subs right now, once again, is just like cell phones and technology, where things were more analog, back then. The computers do more like, sonar, for example. When I was back in the sub, the sonarmen, they were good. They could really detect certain noises phenomenally. These guys were they were freaks of nature. They could listen to something, they'd say, hey, Philly, listen to this, and you're like, what? And he'd say, Russian sub, 2 miles away, this type of sub, can you hear? They could hear the steam turning in the Russian sub's reactor. I'd be like,
oh no, that's a whale. That's a whale.
That too.
Yeah.
That too. They would say we have a large school of porpoises around us.
Yeah.
You could hear those though because they'd be squeaking and popping. You
Yeah.
know? But so getting back to the technology now. What the sonarman would do now the computer does.
Yeah.
Because all those sounds are in there, and when a sound comes up, the computer automatically matches it up with another sound.
What is the what do they run on now? Is it a nuclear?
Oh, they're all nukes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even when I was
So they run forever.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing that burns out is the sailors.
Yeah.
That's why when I was on it, we used to say we'd be underwater for 3 months at a time. Explains a lot, huh?
What would you guys do? I mean, wouldn't you like?
A lot of cribbage and poker. You played a lot of cards. They'd have a movie night. Of course, that was back when you had the reels.
Yeah.
You didn't have your
Yeah, but 3 months, that movie got seen a few times.
Different movie every night.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. The full-length feature film every night. That's what you'd look forward to.
Yeah.
Or you learn how to play cribbage really well, or poker. And there was a lot of battle stations. There was a lot of
Did you have showers?
testing. Yeah. Yep. Had to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see.
Did they take the water from the outside and
Yep.
turn it, take the salt out of it, kind of thing?
Exactly.
All right.
There was one machine, actually there's two of them in case one broke down. One machine would take in the salt water, eliminate the salt, send the salt back out to sea,
Yeah.
and store the fresh water.
Yeah.
Some of the fresh water would be moved forward into the tanks, so you'd have drinking water and
Yeah.
water to shower in. Another machine would take
Did you still taste the salt?
No.
No?
No, that was
Wow,
that
that's
was
amazing.
No, it was really amazing. And then another machine would take the other tank of water, separate the hydrogen from the oxygen, discharge the hydrogen out to sea, take the oxygen, move the oxygen into a tank, and bleed 21% oxygen into the air because the atmosphere is 21%
Yeah.
oxygen.
Yeah.
So that's how you would breathe because you would stay underwater the whole time. You were a nuclear sub. You wouldn't come up.
When you came up, were you wobbly? Were you
I was
like,
wobbly when I was down there.
Yeah, no, but did you have to get your bearings when you came up?
No, the only thing you noticed when you
Or
surfaced,
sunlight?
yeah, when you surfaced, the sunlight was extremely bright because you get used to pretty dim light,
Yeah.
on the sub. That and when it opened up, of course, you'd be getting the salt air and the sea.
Yeah.
It would stink. It was the best stinking smell you had because you hadn't smelt it in
Yeah.
3 months.
Yeah.
But when you were underwater, you had pure 21% atmosphere, so
Yeah.
you didn't really have any foreign smells unless.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and yep. Then you'd come up 3 months later and come home, and 3 months later go back and do it again.
Yeah.
And yeah, I volunteered. Haven't figured that part out yet. It sounded fun at the time. That's why they get you when you're 18.
Yeah.
Hey, Filiault, want to have some fun? Submarine looks pretty cool, huh? Yeah, let's go. Then you dive. You're about an hour into it. You look at your calendar, realize you have 90 days to go, and you go, don't think I messed up on this one.
Yeah.
But it went by fast. Now I wish I'd done 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
You would have your retirement.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Long time ago. I've been out for 45 years. No, I went in 45 years ago, so I've been out 41.
Wow.
Been out of the service 41 years. So if I'd stayed in for 20, I would have been retired 21 years ago.
Yeah.
Damn. Would have had a little. Of course, I wouldn't be getting paid because of Trump, right? Government shutdown. I wouldn't be getting my pension. So there's another story for another day. And Coast Guard's not getting paid. Active duty Coast Guard's not getting paid.
Did I see today
How's that for a segue?
That Speaker Pelosi said that today I think I read that today she said that she's asked the president not to to see if they can find a different time.
Yeah, don't do a State of the Union.
State of the Union. If
State of the Union, we're closed.
Yeah.
Here's the State of the Union. We're closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you and I could go for a long time in this government shutdown. That is just nuts. And, the Coast Guard not getting paid. And now they're trying to call back. They're calling back the IRS to work for free so they can do tax returns. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not feeling well today. And now the TSA at the airports, see where Delta Airlines said they'll lose $25 million this month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see this going on for much longer, because now
Well,
people that are getting affected.
What I can't figure out is that, there's the president, there's the Democrats, but it's the Senate Republicans and it's Mitch McConnell that's not allowing some of these votes to come in. Whether the president approves of it or not, I mean, you should at least have the opportunity to put something on the floor to have for a discussion.
I know.
And the House passed some Republican bills that the Senate had already approved.
The Senate,
And I don't get it. I don't.
before this last.
I mean, I get it. It's politics.
Well, the last Senate before they left, they voted 100 to nothing to keep government open. 100 nothing, and they thought Trump was going to pass it. And then Rush Limbaugh and Ann Coulter called him and said, "Don't do it," and he didn't. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy when you have talk show hosts convince you not to keep government open. But how'd you like to be on the Coast Guard? You're not getting paid. You're out to sea. Your family's back home with no check.
Well, you're supposed to be able to go off to whatever you're doing, whether it's to war, whether it's to protect this country, and have some level of a clean mind of knowing that your family's taken care of, that you've done everything and everything. These guys are going out there knowing that their families are trying to figure out how to feed themselves.
Yeah.
How to pay their bills.
Nothing like being out to sea, worried.
And this person for the Trump administration that said that they, what was it? That those people that were furloughed, they've got the best deal of all because they'll get their back pay at some point and they're on vacation and they're not using sick
Yeah, that's what he
time.
called it, a vacation.
Yeah,
A
these
vacation.
people are also losing certain things, I mean.
Can't pay the bills,
Nobody wins. Nobody wins. Nobody
No.
wins. Not Republicans, not Democrats, and
Nope.
and
Especially those affected by it.
And in 2013, my wife was reading this to me last night. President Trump, then Donald Trump, said that a shutdown falls at the feet of the president because he is the leader, the executive.
Yeah. So the president's a failure if government shuts down.
Shuts down, right? And
Guess
so,
what? Guess who the failure is?
yeah. So
It's crazy. It's crazy. But hopefully that ends pretty quick. Like I said, Delta Airlines going to lose $25 million this month.
Well, inspectors are going back too of planes, right? They're asking the inspectors to go back to.
They're asking them to go back to work for free. They're asking TSA to go back and work in the airports. And you know what they're saying? No.
Yeah. But
No.
the inspectors they want back because they want the planes to be inspected so that people are
Oh,
safe
yeah,
from
so they're
flying.
safe. Oh, and by the way, food inspectors are off too. They say don't eat lettuce now because there's no inspectors out there inspecting your lettuce.
Yeah.
Damn lettuce gets you every time. Eat pizza. You never hear pizza poisonings. It's always the damn lettuce. Right? So, when your wife says, "Chris, did you have your salad today?"
The new salad.
Say, I ain't having no damn salad. I'm not getting sick. I'm eating pizza.
No, I'm having my salad right here. It's pepperoni cheese pizza.
Bingo.
Yeah.
All meat salad with cheese.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got about 4 minutes left, Chris. I saw where the state of New Hampshire is submitting a bill where 17-year-olds can vote in the national primary if they're going to be 18 by the general election. And 21 other states already do that, so I think that's going to blow through.
I think we should do whatever we can to allow our youth to vote.
Yep.
And I think this is a no-brainer.
You still have to be 18 to vote in the general election, but allows you to vote in the primary to get started. So, like I said, 21 other states already do it. I think I don't know what Sununu will do, because he seems to want to veto a lot of bills, but we'll see where he goes.
Because I had nothing better to do, I guess, last night, I watched the Mayor Marty Walsh, right, at Boston?
Yep.
And I'll tell you, the place was going crazy. I mean, they just loved what he was talking about, and the governor was there. And you look at the governor.
And the governor's a Republican, Charlie Baker.
They've got I think the Senate is Republican controlled at this point, but I could be wrong. Mm-hmm. But the House isn't, or vice versa. And so, but Massachusetts is. But it's like if the Senate it's very close. So
Right.
they need to work together.
They're doing
And
a
so
pretty good job down there as far as getting
the
along.
growth and jobs and I mean everything he was talking about, it was really, and it's just like Governor Sununu could be doing the same thing and working the same way with Democrats on, and he could if he did, I really believe his status and could be something that would hold for many years
agree.
to come. If he could show that he's willing to walk the path of doing right by New Hampshire and not politically one way or the other, because I think it will be it's
Like, yeah, don't dig in, just,
Yeah.
And that's why I enjoy city council, because city council is nonpartisan. You'll have philosophical differences with other councilors, but you don't dig in because of a party.
Yeah.
D and the R.
Yeah.
Well, I can't vote for him because I can't vote on. Oh, you're I
Yeah.
can't do. That's why I enjoy council. At least that part of it. We don't have to.
I used to
deal
get
with it.
so much. I would put Bill Beauregard, Dana Edwards, or others, signs up on my yard. Mayor Lane was a Republican at one point before he became an independent, because I was voting for what I thought was in the best interest of the city. And if you knew somebody like Dana Edwards, you knew he truly cared about the city in a way that made sense to me.
Yep.
And Bill Beauregard was the same way. So
Yeah. No, you and I have sat on some diverse councils, and you get some, just like naturally you're going to get somebody that's kind of far off to the left, which we've had a few, and you get some that are far off to the right, and we've had a few of those.
yeah,
Where the 15-member council, even if you have, I call them the wing nuts, the kind of the far outs, still leaves you anywhere between 9 and 11 councilors in the middle.
so who are the wingnuts?
We've had a few along the way. This council's fairly moderate compared to
That's so
councils that have.
safe of you.
It really is. You and I have sat on a couple. Do you remember
Yeah.
people throwing pens?
Yeah.
Remember that
Yeah.
back in the day?
Yeah.
They got pretty wild back then. We got 1 minute to go, and we've covered a lot. I see your Jack Wozmak, who you're going to get as a county commissioner, is leaving the
Who
airport.
I have as a county
Yeah, I know.
commissioner.
And he's heading to Monadnock Family Services.
At the HR director.
HR director coming to as a county commissioner. He'll be visiting you occasionally.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. We're gonna miss Jack. Jack really stabilized the airport nicely.
Well, he didn't
did a
just
good job.
stabilize it; he took it to the next level. And I hope that the city doesn't rush too quick and allows their decision making to be, what do we want next? If that means for a period of time, you have somebody come in that's more of an agency type, to look at it, or a consultant firm or something.
Yeah.
And then you guys can think, where do you want to go next with the project? Because I think what he did is he stabilized the relationship between Swansea and Keene,
You did.
and he grew it.
And
So
guess what else?
we got to go.
Yeah, we're out
Have
of
a
here.
great weekend.
Thank you. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Everybody, enjoy. Shovel the snow.